Hi, and welcome to Crypto Crazy. I'm Cal, and today I'm going to talk about a new coin, well, relatively new. It's been out for around about 3.5 weeks, Bonfire. Now, as you can probably see on the screen, it has a fully diluted market cap of close to 700 million, which is considerably large, especially for a coin that's relatively new. The circulating market cap, or the circulating amount of tokens out there, is a little bit lower at 450 million. However, that's still pretty large. So I'm just going to go into what this coin is, what it does, and just in terms of this type of coin. So a relatively new community type coin, which is having a utility. Before, I probably would have said this is an extremely large amount for this. However, we've seen just this week something like Shiba Inu, which has been around for a little bit longer, but is at number 19 within the rankings and has a market cap of 10.5 billion at the moment. So these type of coins, which are created as a community coin, which does bring with it utility as well, can get very large. And one of the reasons I am covering Bonfire is because it does seem to get a lot of interest. There are a considerable amount of people who are investing into it, trying to find out a bit more about it. So this is very much for you to have a bit more of an understanding of what it does, what it is, and where the value is coming from. Because like I mentioned, for 3.5 weeks, it's gone up a considerable amount. So this was released on April the 18th. Now, there are some people who don't like to get into coins straight away, and I can understand that because there's a lot more risk, and until a lot more people get behind it, a lot of these coins do fail. I look at numerous amounts on a daily basis, and more than not, they go up a little bit, but then slowly they do fail because people are looking for where the value is coming, what projects are getting traction. So since it got listed here on the 7th of May, it has been going up generally quite steadily. It's been bouncing around the last week or so, and it has gained, like I said, a lot of value. So if you are interested in getting this, it is available on PancakeSwap. But if we just get into the project now, this has 225,000 holders. Again, this is a very large amount. So what are they doing? And again, it's one of these coins that is automatically yield generating. So if you do hold it, you are rewarded for it. There is a tax on the amount as well. So as it mentions here, they've got a very large number in terms of the amount. 30% was burnt initially. Up until today, 38% has been burnt because on all transactions there is a 10% tax, and 5% is distributed to holders, and 5% is added to liquidity. Now that says 5% added to liquidity, and it says 30% burned here. That's generally the same thing. It goes into a dead pool within PancakeSwap. So that 30% is slowly being added to. That provides the amount that is not in circulation, and I can just show you quickly here as well. This is the amount here, so that's sitting at 38%. So like I mentioned, you do get a profit from holding it. Just by holding it, the tax that is levied onto the sellers is redistributed. And here they just have this mission about it to being a coin where the rug isn't pulled, where you can get more stability within it as well. And that's what they're trying to do, get more partnerships, get more listings. And I think what's quite interesting is the roadmap. And I'll go into it straight away. And I think it's interesting because for a project like this, it doesn't have as much development as you would kind of expect to see. Even when you click on the roadmap, it goes to a Twitter posting. Now, that's probably because they haven't had time to maybe update the website, but a lot is happening in a lot of short period of time, and it does look like it's growing pretty fast in terms of what they do, what they haven't done so far. But let's just have a look and see what they have within the pipeline. So there's a lot of things in terms of marketing and getting listed and so on. They have a Launchpad, which I think is quite interesting. There are two things that I think have been very successful this year, and they have been NFT marketplaces or NFTs and Launchpads. Now, I've seen some other projects, and I was covering PancakeSwap the other day, and just those two, I mean, those two features are within PancakeSwap as well. So they have a Launchpad and they had NFTs, and I've seen the value of something like that go up a considerable amount. So the two things that they have coming up here are definitely things that are very large at the moment. More and more projects are coming out, more and more startups within the crypto world, and they do benefit from Launchpad. So that's something that this project has coming up, and NFTs as well. We all know how big NFTs are at the moment. So they've got not only the ability to mint, but to also sell and buy within the marketplace. So I think those are the big two parts. But other than that, they have, as I mentioned, a swap as well. They have more marketing campaigns on board. And one thing I do want to go into as well, if we just kind of, this is how you can also buy it, where you can get the tokens from. But here, the team members. So this is what I was wanted to mention. If we just have a look, and that you got this individual Joshua Bell who does have experience within marketing. You've got this individual here, Nathan Trudeau. And what's quite interesting, if you do click on like LinkedIn, he doesn't mention Bonfire within the projects he's working on. And they do have someone within social media as well. Now, social media, as we know, does help really get people behind it. Now, this individual here, Tyler Ashton, if you click onto his Instagram, you'll see he has around about close to 300,000 followers. He's on TikTok as well, with millions of followers, really. However, I haven't seen him yet mention Bonfire, and that's quite interesting. So I don't know whether he gets behind that it will grow. One thing that I am always wary of is I've seen a lot of projects in the last few years, I would say. In the last bull run, there were a lot of projects like this that looked great, that people invested in, but were found to have individuals on there that were not part of the actual project. Now, I'm not saying that's the case here, but it's always interesting for me to click on the links and see if people are mentioning it. Like I mentioned, Joshua Bell has, Nathan Trudeau hasn't. There's no way of me knowing if he genuinely is a part of that. Same thing with Tyler Ashton as well. There's nothing to stop someone really creating something like this. And I'm not saying this is the case. This is just for your information to know when you're looking at projects. When for someone to create a website and put individuals on there, because this has happened before in the past, and say that they are working on this project. There's a great team with great experience, but yet when you contact them, they had no knowledge of being part of a project. So it's just something to be aware of. But I think it's also good if these individuals who are part of this project to have actually shared on their links that they are within this project as well. So again, something to keep in mind. I usually have a look on, like I mentioned, on the socials, but the number of holders here, 225,000, outstrips what they have on Twitter or other socials as well. So that's very impressive. Like it says, there are more than 200,000 holders in 22 days. Very, very good. And I think it's just a case of how much traction can this get. It's very much how much marketing they do behind it. How much can it potentially grow? Like we've shown here, like 225,000 nearly is a very large amount. So let's just see what they do with this. But at the moment, it's very, very basic. They have a few things that they say are in the pipeline. I would like to see. I'm surprised it's at the size that it is at the moment. I'm really am in terms of market cap, but clearly they've managed to get a good following behind them, and it's very much to see how they start developing these things. Now, if they do start developing them, it will go up in value. For me personally, at this point, I mean, even if it does 10x and get to, let's say, 4.5 billion in the long term, that's a great amount. But usually for price predictions, it's always very hard to tell in these sort of cases because we're not seeing any maybe beta versions or anything along them lines. So that's something that I do like to usually consider. But there you go. That's Bonfire. Hopefully you got an understanding of it. Like I said, it's very much the community coin. You're holding it, auto generates you with rewards with a 5% of what's being sold. They do have a Launchpad, NFT marketplace minting, and a swap in the pipeline for later on this year. It does already have a very, very big following, so clearly they are convincing people. The team looks fine, it looks okay. It would be nice to see them also within their LinkedIn's and in their social media profiles mentioning Bonfire, especially when they're working in certain parts of it. But I think at the moment, personally for me, it's a very high value, but some people like for it to get to this sort of stage before they do get in because they don't want that big risk. In terms of price, like I mentioned, it's nice to see that it is settling this last week or so. It bouncing around and settling down. Generally, that means that it's kind of leveling out and it's a good sort of flooring for it to potentially push up further, uh, unless anything drastic happens. But with any project, it's always good to have a long-term view. So there you go. That's Bonfire. Hope you found that useful, informative. If you have, please do consider subscribing. Please do give me a like. It does help the channel. I do bring out quite a wide range of videos. Like I mentioned as well, I had the Shiba Inu, some other new coins. Generally, they're new to the market. They're fairly small, but I do cover coins that are growing that I do believe will bring value. Market cap that are mid-range as well that I do think will grow and bring value too. So if you like the sound of that, please do consider subscribing. But there you go. That's Bonfire. I've been Cal. This is Crypto Crazy, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.